Long ago, humans lived in a world that made zero sense. One day, lightning struck, and everything instantly felt terrifying and personal. Groups huddled together, believing something powerful was watching them from above. Thunder roared loudly, and they assumed something angry was shouting down. They didn't hear noise, they heard emotion, rage from the sky. So their brains created a face, something alive behind the chaos. Because in their world, everything had a clear cause and reason. But the sky, it made no sense at all, so they imagined something invisible, pulling strings behind the scenes. Everyone agreed, something powerful must be controlling everything happening above. But one man wasn't just scared, he was thinking differently. He realized something strange: people were easier to understand than storms. They were afraid, confused, and desperately wanted answers from someone. And that gave him a dangerous, brilliant idea to try. What if he pretended to understand the sky itself? So during the storm, he stepped forward and raised his arms dramatically. He shouted loudly at the sky, pretending he was communicating with it. The others froze, watching him like something unbelievable was happening right now. Then thunder struck. Perfectly timed, making his act seem completely real. He noticed their faces change from fear into pure amazement instantly. They started believing, maybe this man actually understood the sky somehow. So he leaned deeper into the role and began explaining everything. He claimed he could speak to whatever controlled the lightning above. At night, they gathered around him, listening carefully to his stories. He began performing rituals, simple actions that looked mysterious and powerful. People offered him food, hoping he would keep the sky calm. Slowly, he rose above them, no longer just another member. Even he seemed surprised how easily everyone believed his performance. But belief is powerful, and it started changing how he saw himself. The man became something more, not a god, but close enough. Soon, he wasn't just respected, he became central to their entire survival. He created symbols, simple drawings that gave meaning to the unknown. People repeated his actions, turning them into rituals that felt important. Belief spread quickly, as everyone began copying the same explanations together. But imagination grew, creating different gods with different personalities and moods. Different groups formed different beliefs, each convinced theirs was completely right. Rituals became more complex, more dramatic, and more emotionally powerful over time. Offerings appeared, small sacrifices to keep these invisible forces satisfied always. The ideas were taught, passed down carefully to the next generations. Children grew up believing these stories were simply how reality worked. Then something terrifying happened. The sun disappeared in the middle of day. Panic exploded instantly, as no one had ever seen anything like this. But the priest stepped forward again, repeating his now familiar performance confidently. And once again, people believed he was controlling the impossible event. Trust in him grew stronger, locking belief deeper into their minds. From that moment, belief became part of everyday life for everyone. Systems formed, turning simple ideas into structured and organized belief systems. Across the world, different groups created completely different versions of these gods, but the pattern stayed identical. Someone always claimed to understand the unknown. And that person always stood above others, guiding their fears and hopes. Because chaos is terrifying when nothing seems to follow any clear rules. But believing someone controls everything makes the world feel safer instantly. So humans chose meaning over randomness, even if that meaning wasn't real. And that belief gave comfort, stability, and a sense of control. The man who once pretended slowly became larger than himself in minds. Maybe he even started believing parts of his own story over time. But it all began with one simple decision during a storm. People believed because they needed answers more than they needed truth. And that need shaped cultures, traditions, and entire civilizations across history. In the end, humans didn't find gods, they unknowingly created them,